Legacy is not just about what we leave behind, but how we live our values every day, shaping a timeless impact on those who follow. On behalf of our chairperson, Priya Gazdar, and her committee, I, Sujita Chityala, Honorary Secretary of FLO Hyderabad, extend a warm welcome to our esteemed speaker, Ms. Suparna Mitra, CEO of the Watches and Wearables Division of Titan Co. Limited, celebrated for her exceptional acumen in corporate leadership, our distinguished past chairs, special invitees, and fellow FLO members. May I now request everyone to please rise for the national anthem.
Jana Gana Mana Adhinayaka Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravida Utkala Vanga Vindhya Himachala Yamuna Ganga Uchchala Jaladhi Taranga तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
I request FLO Chairperson Priya Gazdar, our distinguished speaker Ms. Suparna Mitra, FLO past chairs Ajita Reddy, Jyotsna Angara, Vani Subhash, Usharani Manni, Uma Chigrupati to step forward for lamp lighting.
Namaste and a warm welcome to Speaker of the Day, Ms. Suparna Mitra, CEO at Titan Watches and Wearables Division, Titan Company Limited. Special invitees, our past chairpersons, sponsors, members of the press and media, and my dear members. We learned so much about the power of storytelling in our last session, and here's another powerful reminder of the same. Amitabh Bachchan was traveling on an airplane. Next to him sat an unassuming gentleman who seemed clearly to be from a middle-class, well-educated background. Other passengers recognized Mr. Bachchan and were chatting with him. But the gentleman sat quietly reading a book, untouched by the fanfare around Mr. Bachchan. Now curious, Mr. Bachchan asked his neighbor whether he watched movies, to which he said, Oh, very rarely. I watched one many years ago. On Mr. Bachchan's mentioning that he worked in the film industry as an actor, the gentleman remarked, "Oh, that's wonderful," and went back to reading. On disembarking, unable to hold back anymore, Mr. Bachchan shook his neighbor's hand and said in his best movie baritone, "It was nice traveling with you. By the way, my name is Amitabh Bachchan." The gentleman shook his hand with a smile and very simply said, "Thank you. It was nice meeting you. I am J.R.D. Tata." That day, Mr. Bachchan writes in his blog, "I learned that no matter how big you think you are, there's always someone bigger. So be humble, it costs nothing." In today's conversation with our guest speaker, Suparna Mitra, we will delve into the core values and operational mantras that have guided the Tata Group to become India's pride and a globally respected powerhouse. And of course, her journey to the helm of Titan Company Limited, a gem of this wonderful conglomerate. Thank you, Suparna, for joining us at FLO Hyderabad today. The Tata Group, a beacon of hope and integrity, was born out of the visionary dreams of Jamsetji Tata in 1868. For nearly 160 years now, this iconic Indian conglomerate has woven its legacy into the very fabric of the nation, touching lives with its unwavering commitment to ethical principles, people-centric values, and humane approach that are its very lifeblood. Tata's endeavors are not just about business. Each project, from steel to automobiles, from IT to consumer goods, from edibles to wearables, is a testament to their deep-seated belief in giving back to society. Through tireless innovation, employee empowerment, and a steadfast adherence to ethical governance, the Tata Group continues to inspire and uplift, giving the business world and even the common man lessons to learn from and emulate. At FLO 2, we strive incessantly to imbibe best practices from across industries and act with a deep sense of responsibility towards the society and environment. In June, we learned from Suparna Mitra of Axel and Shanti Mohan of Let's Venture the nuances of raising funds, staying unique and innovative, and navigating the venture capital ecosystem. Our nutritional supplements have reached the women weavers of Siddipet who were found deficient in hemoglobin after the CBP test conducted last month. We understood from luxury brand strategist and brand story craftsman Arvind Vijay Mohan the values that make legacy brands enduring icons of responsible and sustainable business. On 20th, we met the Korean ambassador, His Excellency, Mr. Chang Jae-bok, and explored new avenues of collaboration in future industry sectors, particularly in the manufacturing and creative economies. To celebrate Yoga Day, we had an online session with Yoga Guru Malti Chandrasekhar, who took us through the nuances of Hatha Yoga, Vinyasa Yoga, Yin Yoga, and Yoga Nidra. Our day-long MSME conclave on the 24th was very well received, with an illustrious lineup of speakers, including Honorable IT Minister Sridhar Babu, FLO National President Joy Sridas Verma, Special Chief Secretary Jayesh Ranjan, Director General NIMSME Dr. Glory Swarupa, T-Hub CEO Sita Palachola, Director MSME and Retail Government of Telangana Vatsala Mishra, and a host of other thought leaders. It proved to be an immersive on-ground gathering of MSMEs, policymakers, and ecosystem enablers. It shed light on the upcoming Telangana MSME policy, the next wave of growth opportunities for women in MSME, industry-specific issues, ESG, and more. It's a matter of pride for FLO Hyderabad chapter that we facilitated the national-level MOU between FLO and NIMSME, a central government knowledge institution for MSME. As part of the conclave, we honored 10 women-led MSME organizations from manufacturing, services, social impact, and grassroots sectors that have demonstrated promising potential for scaling and sustainable contribution to the MSME ecosystem. Our EduSkill vertical organized a workshop on the art and science of memory at Mehboobiya Girls College. The speaker was international NLP trainer and memory coach Pooja Sharma. Sakala, a handlooms vertical, successfully facilitated orders worth 1,20,000 rupees for Golabhama saris and Mutyamgadi dupattas to Triple ID. While the feedback from the organization has been very positive, The Weavers Cluster feels highly encouraged and is looking forward to more business flowing through FLO. Now that the rains have started, training is on for women farmers at our Center of Excellence for Vegetable Farming in Rawalkol village. At the end of 3 crop seasons, we would have made 100 women farmers not only self-sufficient in earning a decent livelihood, but also trainers themselves. Our annual exhibition, Style Tattva, is now on promotional overdrive, as you would have noticed already. Please follow, like, share, tag, and help us bring all of Hyderabad to HITEX Hall number 2 on 20th and 21st July. Please mark your calendars and urge all those in your phone book to do it too for this mammoth 200 stalls exhibition. The 70% new curation has just about all that your wardrobe and home are craving for. We are showcasing all artisanal initiatives taken up by FLO Hyderabad in the last 5 years, as well as a Telangana food festival in special pavilions. We need many more hands on board now, so those of you who can spare some time and support our efforts, please contact the Style Tattva team or the core committee. For your convenience, we have created an e-pass which can be used for entry to Style Tattva. Please scan the QR code placed in the foyer to download your e-pass. And yes, feel free to share it with your extended family and friends. Moving on, please set aside the afternoon of July 12th to hear fashion designer Namrata Joshipura and creative strategist for designer brands Aparna Rodham talk about what makes the fashion industry tick in and outside India. Don't miss the July 26th online session on the legal considerations every company must be aware of to navigate the e-commerce and social media marketing spaces safely. In commemoration of Independence Day, we have Captain Yashika Hatwal Tyagi coming to FLO Hyderabad to tell us stories from the war front and what it takes for a woman to serve at the highest echelons of the forces. FLO National has announced the FLO Fest, a platform for members to showcase their artistic talents in solo and group performances and presentations across performing arts and visual arts. Let's come together and put up a crackling show of our artistic might. Our June 30th deadline has passed, but we have extended the pay-by date for annual renewals to July 15th in view of summer travels, holidays, and more. So reach out to the office in case of any difficulty in processing your annual fee payment. Finally, congratulations to the stars of FLO Hyderabad who have been selected to the She Rises and Independent Women Directors cohorts organized by FLO National. With that, I invite Mahati Velamati, Head Government Interface, to introduce our illustrious speaker. Thank you.
Good evening and namaste. Today, I am here to introduce you all to a versatile, dynamic, yet humble woman leader who has carved a path for one of the most visionary brands of the Tatas. Suparna Mitra, CEO, Watches and Wearables Division at Titan Company Limited, is an electrical engineer from Jadavpur University and an MBA grad from IIM Calcutta. With over 3 decades of experience in the lifestyle and retail sectors, spanning from a short stint in Hindustan Unilever to taking over as the global marketing head at Titan in 2006, she has done it all. Some of the other leadership positions at Titan include Regional Business Head South, where she was heading all business divisions of Titan, jewelry, watches, and eyewear. She also served as the Chief Sales and Marketing Officer for Watches and Wearables Division. One of India's popular food delivery online brand, Swiggy, has recently appointed Suparna as an independent director on their board. Suparna is currently serving on the board of directors, governors of IIM Kozhikode, and has previously served on the board of Tata Power Solar. She has been awarded the most impactful CEO by ET Edge in 2023 and has been recognized on various platforms such as Fortune Most Powerful Women in Business, Business Today Most Powerful Women in 2023, Business World Most Influential Women in 2022, and the list goes on. Now, let's sit back and get inspired and hear from the woman herself. Over to you, Priya.
Anybody who joins Titan as an employee, and even for that matter, even as a business associate, there are some, what we call the Tata Code of Conduct, and certainly for employees, TCOC, Tata Code of Conduct. you have to go through it and you have to sign. And it is about ethics, it is about integrity, it is about professional integrity, not just financial, integrity in that sense. It is about respect for the individual. So it is about, kind of you're actually signing that you will be respectful to everybody. And I feel that when people join and they sign that, they take an oath of doing business the right way. And when everybody in the ecosystem knows that that's the right way, and in fact that's the only way, then it becomes very simple. You're not trying to waste time and energy in second guessing. You're just saying that this is the only way business can be done. So whether it is about multi-stakeholder approach, and we really believe in that, saying that if there is a choice or a decision to be made, we have to ensure that all stakeholders are taken care of. There are times when one stakeholder is chosen as who you maximize. Very often that is the customer. But everybody else's interests are also looked into. And we also are an extremely people-centric company, and there is this myth of dilemma. How can you be performance-oriented and people-oriented at the same time? It is actually because we are people-oriented and we take care of our employees that we don't have to worry, because employees will then take care of the business. And this is true at the store. We have, like you said, more than 2,000 stores, and in every single store, whether it is for the watches division like Titan World, Helios, Fast Track, whether it's for jewelry division like Tanishq, Mia, Zoya, or iCare or Tanera, everywhere, the employees are, there is a lot of attention given to how employees are doing. And this is often done at the highest level, like every year, and this is actually happening as we speak. The MD of the company and the Chief People Officer, they go around to all the units, the geographical units of the company, including the factories, including different regional offices, area offices, etc. And they have these conversations with employees in cohorts. And it's a safe space where they can talk about what's working for them and what's not working for them. And that is then kind of synthesized, and we actually shape some policies and processes other than taking care of individual instances of taking care of people. So if you take care of people, the people will take care of the business.
Lovely. I really like that. And I would like to welcome our past national president, Ms. Pinky Reddy. And I think we need a better seat for you.
I love steps.
But there's a more comfortable area there. Please meet Suparna Mitra. She's the CEO of Titan Wearables and Watches Division. So yes, I love the way you said that is the only way you operate. And the signature for the Tata Code of Conduct, I think these are things large corporates can really follow and imbibe and emulate. And if we can do that, I think the corporate ethos will percolate right from the top to the bottom to everywhere. And once that happens, I think we have our processes in place. So all of us here have grown up with the Tata brand. And of course, Titan is a part of our lives in some way or the other. With close to 50% market share across categories, what does it take for the group as a whole to be at every touch point of an average Indian's life?
So, Titan was incorporated as a company exactly 40 years back. In fact, in the month of July 1984. And our first products, which were watches, were launched in the market in 1987. And the Indian consumer has really showered us with so much love and acceptance that I mean, truly we are blessed. One of the things I would like to mention at this point is that actually the company and its fortunes are the direct blessings of the Indian woman. It's the Indian woman consumer who actually has funded our growth in a way, because a very large part of the business is Tanishq, which is all jewelry. And of the rest of the businesses, and Taneira is also all saris, there's no menswear. The other big businesses like watches, wearables, eye care is more or less 50-50 or 65-35, maybe 60-40 in some cases. So if you average it out, it's like a vardhan from the Indian woman consumer who has placed her faith and her love across all our brands and reposed her faith in our company. In watches, where we got off to a fantastic start in the first 5-6 years itself, we had beaten the then number one, then only one, HMT, and were clearly the watch brand of choice. The interesting part of the journey is that 35 years later, we are still number one, and we are still at a very, very large market share. And this has been on the back of following the Indian consumer. We spend a lot of time in understanding and analyzing, observing in consumers. Could be youth, could be premium consumers, could be women consumers, could be kids. And then kind of predicting what they would like ahead of even them realizing what they like. So we are in the business of fashion and lifestyle. I mean, jewelry is really not. It's more an asset, but still there is a very big element of design. And there are a lot of competencies that we have developed over the years of talent that gets the Indian consumer, talent that gets product, design. There's a lot of manufacturing capability. In the watches division, we have 5 factories, and there's a lot of R&D going on at any point in order for us to be ready for what the consumer will want at the next turn of the road.
I think that's very close to my next question. I think it's like a curtain raiser for that. Titan's marketing mix, the 4 Ps of product, place, price, promotion, seems to work across categories, geographies, demographics, and even the physical-digital divide, what we call phygital now. So can you shed light on the strategy for any one of the product lines, maybe watches, jewelry? What is the kind of strategy that you follow?
I'll take the example of Raga. This is a brand that's particularly close to my heart, and I've been closely involved in the shaping of the brand from 2006 onwards. I know, I noticed right away. 18 years. So I had joined Titan. I mean, I had initially joined Titan in 94, but I left and I rejoined Titan in 2006. Raga was at a unique kind of point in its history when one had to make a call on where this brand was going. It was not a very well-known brand. Having said that, there were a lot of women who loved the brand. So we had done then a big consumer inciting project called Project Athena. And I still remember the name of the project. And in Athena, we did a lot of qualitative discussions, group discussions, and interviews with women. And we realized that that maybe about 30% of women loved Raga, but the ones who loved Raga had very deep feelings about it. And in typical qual, when you do qual research, they do things like which animal does this remind you of? Which film star does this remind you of? Will you write a love letter to your brand? And people write, honestly, they write rubbish. But here, I was stunned when people wrote, like there were actual women consumers who wrote that when I wear Raga, I feel more of the woman I am. And this one line has inspired me for the last 18 years, that no matter what I do, I need to make the Raga consumer feel more of the woman she is, which actually places dual responsibility. One is, how does the brand evolve? How does the product language evolve? But it equally says, how does the woman evolve? And when we first started, and I don't know, many of you are quite young, but some may remember, we did a 2006 campaign with the brand ambassador Rani Mukherjee, who was ruling the Bollywood roost. It was a very beautiful, TV commercial. It was art directed by Ashok Mehta, who was a famous cinematographer, done art direction for many films, including Utsav, which was what he had been inspired when we did this film. And it did really well. And in that particular, TVC, they were talking about Ek Khoobsurat Rishta. So usually, the concept of Shringar is you wear things to get ready for your significant other. Here she was taking out everything. She took out everything and then she wore, like she took off the jhumkas and she took off the payal and she took off the bangles. And in the end, she takes out her watch case and wears the Raga. And that was the Ek Khoobsurat Rishta. But by 2010-12, we realized the Indian woman was not sitting waiting for a significant other. Sure, she was getting dressed up actually to make a bigger point. And Raga was always part of that dressing up journey, right? So then I think in 2012 or 13, there was another fairly iconic commercial which featured Nimrat Kaur. And this was an airport setting where she meets her ex-boyfriend in an airport lounge, and he basically delivers some taunts about how she's not married yet, etc., etc. And she looks at him and he says, like, we could have been married, if only you had stopped working. These are the exact words in English in the ad. And she said, but tum bhi to kar sakte the. And he looks at her and saying, what? Have you ever heard of a man leaving his job? And she was like, yeah, exactly. And she didn't say anything much. And she actually says, हाँ, तुम अभी भी वही हो जैसे मैंने तुम्हें छोड़ा था, which means he hasn't moved an inch. And this particular, and then of course she looks at her Raga and she's like, I made the right choice. So it kind of mirrored the progress of the Indian woman at that point. By 2018, I think we did this campaign called Flaunt Your Flaw, by which time, there has been so much debate on women and beauty that it was, your scars and your wrinkles are your legit beauty spots. Don't hide them. Don't ever feel apologetic for how you look, because you've lived life and everything that you've lived through will be there on your face and your body, and you must embrace it with pride and joy. So we did this Flaunt Your Flaw campaign, which talks, and the first one really rang true for me, the first dialogue in that, which talked about, that you go to sleep at 2 a.m. and you wake up at 4 a.m. And it's actually a part of the flight crew, and she's wearing her, her uniform sari, and she's like, dark circles are my only makeup. And I'm like legendary for my dark circles if I don't get sleep. And I'm like, oh my God, that is me. And it's just that it rings true for so many women who are worried about the fact that they are living life, working, raising families. You will not look perfect, and it's absolutely fine. And, you have a Raga to celebrate that moment. And then cut to 22, 23, when we took on Alia Bhatt, who's our latest brand ambassador. And, the first campaign, which was last year, was sweet. But this year's campaign in particular, which is currently running, I'm particularly fond of. because it celebrates the sisterhood and it's actually beautiful together. So from Ek Khoobsurat Rishta, which is a beautiful relationship, the tagline went to Khud Se Naya Rishta, which is a relationship with your own self, to Flaunt Your Flaw, and there were some others, and now it is, it went to Boldly Beautiful and now Beautiful Together, because the beauty of the sorority, of the sisterhood, the whole is far greater than the sum of its parts. And the fact that women play a role in propping each other up in everything, and certainly in beauty. And this insight incidentally had come to me when I had gone on a trip with one of my regional business managers who happens to be a woman. And, you know, it was a bit like this. I had to go somewhere, I had lunch, and then I slapped on some lipstick in the car. I got off. It was, I think, a store launch. And Payal is like, ma'am. I'm like, what? Lipstick on your teeth? I'm like, oh no. And then she helped me take off the lipstick on my teeth. And I'm like, that's what women do to each other, right? And together we are more beautiful. And the lipstick on the teeth is just an incident. The point is that we are beautiful, more beautiful together than individually. So this has been the journey of the Indian woman, her relationship with beauty, her relationship with raga, and her relationship with herself.
Wonderful. On this point, actually, we have a couple of ads that we picked up from your yesteryears, which actually are very progressive at that point of time when they were released. Can we just play those? We've picked one from Titan and one from Tanishq.
Priya.
आज से डैडी बुलाओ.
A wedding to remember. Tanishq.
The emotional quotient is so strong in this. I mean, it brings tears to our eyes.
ये हो गया. Complete and recommended promotion list.
Thank you. Kiran, recommended by Rajat. Obviously.
Who's Kiran? And why obvious?
So Kiran, star of Rajat's team. Rajat उसको हर प्रोजेक्ट में ले लेता है सर. He says they make a great team. Young है, fresher है, पर रजत को उस पे पूरा भरोसा है सर. And जब देखो they are working together. Not just in office, huh? They spend weekends also on work. On discussions, brainstorming sessions, या some presentations. सबसे पहले ऑफिस आते हैं, सबसे लेट निकलते हैं. For them, it's all about work, sir.
हम भी देखें रजत का रिकमेंडेशन.
Sure, sir.
Yes, sir.
हाँ, किरण को अंदर भेजना.
Sure, sir.
Thank you. Everyone, this is Kiran.
gender stereotyping,
I
and you
know,
addressed it
both
so
these
beautifully.
are so powerful. The second one still moves me to tears. I must tell you little stories about both of them. The second one, Break the Bias, was entirely the work of a man. Sirish Chandrasekhar, who was then the marketing head of Titan and is currently the corporate brand head. Sirish told me, I was his boss, saying that we are making a very powerful film for Women's Day. And I'm like, Women's Day, really? And he said, yeah. And I will show the day before it, on 7th March, I will show you. And I'm like, sure. This was, I forget the year. It was, I think, either 17 or 18, 2016, 17, 18, around any of those 3 years. And I saw the film and I choked. And he said, I know how you feel. I know how all women feel. It's so unfair. And, it's to all the good men. It's, a shout out to the good men, the recommender, and to the person, the boss of Kiran who... Rajat. Yeah, Rajat. The other story is actually the Tanish remarriage story. In fact, I was just reading it in the flight to Hyderabad this morning. Is that particular film, the remarriage film, and exactly what went into it is written in that book, which was written by my boss, C.K. Venkatraman. It's called The Tanish Story. It's just out, I think, about a month back, and he talks about how that particular film came to be. And it was equally innocuous, like somebody, Deepika, who was head of marketing, said, we want to make... Somebody went and said, we need to do much more on the wedding market. And they produced this film. And the business guys are like, how is this going to help? But it has remained an epic that is iconic. And the nuances, including the fact that there are 3-4 nuances in that film. Number one is that the bride is quote-unquote dusky. She's not like super, fair. And that itself is such a big taboo in our heads, right? And number two is the fact that she... the way the good man, did you see that man? How come they don't have actually as many good men as in that film? In reality, where are the good men? No, jokes apart, it just shows up what, really complete green flag men can be like. And that film was incidentally directed by Gauri Shinde. And I think those nuances have come together. She insisted apparently on a lot of the smaller details. So you can look up the book for more tidbits about the second marriage film.
Surely. Am I audible? Okay. Thank you for those little tidbits. Of course, Titan, Tanishq, all these films, the TVCs are something we've grown up with. And like you said, they mirror or maybe actually preempt, the future trends. So Titan has managed to rope in the best of brand ambassadors, like you just mentioned, Alia, and there was so many before them. And you have also, on the other hand, collaborated with Marvel and Game of Thrones too for the children's version of your products. Plus, you have again tied up with very big foreign brands. So what is the kind of inciting, the analytics, and the back-end planning that goes into coming up with these innovative tie-ups? And have they always worked in the brand's favor? Have there been instances where you have thought,
oh yeah,
why did
there
we
have
do
been
this?
lots that never work, but you kind of don't hear of them, and I think consumers will not hear of them. I think collabs have a very important place. Certainly for youth and kids, things like Marvel, etc., work very well. We did a very interesting collab with Masaba on Raga, which was, I don't know, maybe around 5-6 years back. We did 3 rounds of that. And it brought in a whole new customer base, much younger women customer base to us. We've done a collab with Tarun Tahiliani for Tanishq. I think it was last year. So there are lots of collabs that go on. I think it's part of the creative process. You can look at a marketing collab, you can look at a design or designer collab, you can look at a retail, front-end kind of collab. So all the options are possible. I'd like to take this opportunity to actually talk about a lot of the science that goes in it. Because I know we talked about advertising and consumer, and there is a lot of science there too, but frankly, as a company as large and profitable as Titan, works a lot on a lot of hidden sciences, science of merchandising, science of retailing, every single day, and production and manufacturing, which are just clockwork, and they are very process oriented, and there are huge systems, databases, analytics, which guide many of our actions, which are not known to the consumer and frankly should not be known. But every single store we open, the exact place, the store location, the amount, the square footage, the kind of merchandise we put in, the merchandise, visual merchandise, the retail training, the retail incentives, everything is a science. And there are people who are very good at it, who are looking at it and fine-tuning it. And similarly, at the back end, what we make, where we make, how we make, the quality. Because the end result is, you would talk about 3-4 big words: brand love, trust, access. But how does it come? It comes because there are 100 actions done by thousands of people that actually results in that.
Within all this, this is the age of social media. So there's a lot of user-generated content that is happening. So do those insights help you rejig your advertising approach, and how often do you need to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think marketing as a concept, and the way we saw these ads, which are all at least 5 to 10 years old, that concept, not that you don't have now, but in a highly fragmented attention span kind of scenario, where 6 seconds is all you get, because after that you can skip an ad on YouTube. It's just become harder to tell stories, and a lot of the stories actually play out on social media. I think it's a huge opportunity. I mean, not just about influencers and social media handles of brands and influencers, but also in telling different format content. User-generated, certainly. I go into YouTube looking for, say, a smartwatch, and I find more user-generated content than what we have generated. And it says a lot about both the passion and the attachment, the affiliation of the brand. But it also talks about how there's so many people in this country who spend a lot of time doing this and obviously get a lot of enjoyment out of it. So it's a very dynamic situation as far as marketing is concerned. Those days when you made a 60-second, 1-minute ad and you played it, and then that's it. Because that was just one way, right? The consumers did not have a platform to tell you what they thought, which is so much, in evidence right now. It's playing out very beautifully right now. So every single interaction, so we have some systems where the social media imprint of any brand, there is a crawling on the net, and it is kind of filtered out, and it's done by AI. It's humanly not possible to go through that, but it gets categorized into positive, negative, and neutral. And then there are people who are paid to look at sample basis, some of the negatives, the neutrals, understand where people are coming from.
So that must be quite challenging, but like you said, AI has come to the rescue, so things will be speeded up, I'm sure. Let me take you back a little in time. You have a product portfolio of watches, jewelry, and now saris, thanks to Taneira, which has rapidly become our favorite. And none of these, however, are essential purchases. So how did Titan weather out the COVID storm? That's like half of my question. The next part is with Tata's people first values at the foundation, I'm sure you would have continued to support the artisans, the communities of workers associated with the company. So, can you tell us about both these? How did you come out of the COVID storm, and how did Tata support its vast community that it works with?
Yeah, COVID was hard for everyone. And I think, like in Titan, the one business that didn't get impacted that much was actually jewelry, because there is a store of value aspect of gold and jewelry. So people buy, I keep joking, there are two categories. If things are good, if people buy, if things are bad, also people buy. One of them is gold. Let's guess the other one. Maybe not. Ice cream is a good one. No, it's a very easy one.
She's asking for a product line.
Yeah, no, it's not our product line. It's just a general observation. When things are good, you celebrate with alcohol. When things are bad, you drown yourself in alcohol. No, I was not, we are not in, this is just an aside, it's just a joke. No, so jewelry did recover quite fast. Also remember that while COVID hit the poor and the lower middle class very badly, especially those who didn't have steady jobs, and who are basically, they're living month to month, maybe even day to day. Actually, the rich got richer because your salary kept coming in and you didn't have that much, those many avenues to spend. So we did see jewelry recover quite fast. Watches had a terrible time coming back. Eyewear also did reasonably okay, because if you recall, those days there used to be something called essential items. So stores with essentials could open from 12 to 5, other stores could open from 12 to 2, or some different governments, different cities at different schedules. So for a lot of people, spectacles are an essential. I mean, they're practically, they cannot see without. And imagine a scenario where your spectacles are broken or something, then you do need one. So I think in that era of essential, non-essential, I think watches were the most non-essential. Like literally nobody had a reason to buy a new watch, because nobody was going to an office, nobody was going to a party, nobody was going to any kind of social function, birthday, etc. Where would you, even in the Zoom thing, you typically your hand would not show, your wrist, it wouldn't come down, you would only see up to the neck or maybe. So it was like a lost cause, and there were a lot of people who were naysayers and doomsday people who were like, this is the end, my friend. You'll never get back your watches. And we did, and like how? We did really well after that. I think it's also a testament to the human spirit of the entire division that we said, not only will we come back, we'll come back with blistering growth, which is what happened in 22, 23, 23, 24, and also now 24, 25. So it's interesting how very adverse situations do bring out a lot of solidarity, a lot of belief, a lot of fight back kind of attitude. The other point, yes, even during COVID, and we went by the principle that a large company like Titan, we would, have a difficult quarter or two, maybe a difficult couple of years. But obviously we're too, we are big. So we had told all our franchisee partners, vendor partners, if you need loans to pay your people, those employees shouldn't go without their monthly payments. So we gave loans, we gave grants to some people, we just gave the money away, saying, there's no way you can pay us back, don't even think about it, it's fine. And we just did what we thought was the right thing to do. And yeah, and it's interesting how, not that we thought of it like that, but it just comes back, right? That cycle of, goodness came back to us, is continuing to fuel us and feed us and sustain us as we go up. In the upward journey, all of those people remember us. There is a ad, a Tanishq ad called Dua Ka Sona. Has anybody seen it? Okay, go into YouTube and type Dua, Duakasona, which literally means, maybe you don't do it right now. Allow me to finish. No, not right now. Right now may become a little challenging for me. I would lose whatever little attention I have, all of you. So, dua, you understand, right? Dua karna. And it talks about how the karigars who are making the jewelry product, and jewelry making in India is a centuries-old craft. There's nothing new about it. But the karigars used to live and work in some of the most abject of conditions with very little, even things like pollution, because they would have those torches and there would be fumes, etc. And the work that Titan Company has done in making things called Karigar Parks, which gives the Karigars a very dignified place of work. And that's Dua Ka Sona, is that when you buy a Tanishq gold ornament, it is blessed by all those people whose lives have improved. So when you buy it, you get un sabka dua aapko, it comes to you.
It's such a lovely sentiment, really.
So have a look at Dua Ka Sona as soon as you get a chance.
So who comes up with this? Is it your agency? Is it the company? I mean, your people?
It is usually very talented and committed employees. It is usually one of us.
Oh, okay, from the company you mean?
Yeah.
Because you know it,
Yeah.
at the deepest level.
Yeah, absolutely. And the good thing about Titan is once you join Titan, nobody leaves Titan. So whoever is there has been there for 2-3 decades. So we all live by those principles and we are attached. Attached sounds like something is attached. No, we are part of
You're emotionally
it.
attached,
Yeah.
So that brings me to, actually that's a very good leading line to my next question to you.
See, I'm really helping.
So can you tell us how you have progressed through the, Tata echelons? And I read somewhere that Tata veteran Mr. Bhaskar Bhatt, he spoke about the unconditional positive regard for people as Tata's greatest asset. And C.K. Venkatraman is proud that Tata is the largest family corporate organization. So how much of this did you feel as you were climbing up the ladder? And give us a one-liner after you finish describing your journey to, kind of a positioning statement for your career.
Oh, that's tough. No, 1,000%. I think all of us who've worked for many years in Titan have felt the empowering impact of this thing about unconditional positive regard. And you think about it, the two statements are not two different statements, they're the same statement. Where in the entire world do you get unconditional, or you're supposed to get unconditional positive regard for yourself? Where? Only in a family. You're born in a family. Your parents have hopefully prayed for you and you arrive. And as an infant, there is nothing to judge. You're just a baby, right? And if you are born to the right nurturing family, you will grow up with everyone in the family believing, not even hoping, believing that you will be the best that you can be. And that's called unconditional positive regard. It's not conditional. Actually, unfortunately, a lot of Indian families have this thing of, I was listening to that song from Three Idiots the other day, that sunshine song. Give me the sunshine, give me the rain, give me, I want to grow up once again. Yeah, from Three Idiots. And there is a line that says, Papa ne kaha, nahi, whatever, you get some marks, to ghadi, and my ears also perked up at the ghadi, or nahi mila to chhadi. That's called conditional, right? It's conditional regard. If you do it, you will get ghadi, otherwise you will get chhadi. But not everybody can come first, right? So what is that about? And I think my own journey in Titan has been very long and very fulfilling, because I have felt that, yes, there have been ups and downs, there have been mistakes, and there have been things that went really right. First off, it's not just me, it's the entire team. And second is that nobody ever judged me for those failures. I never felt that had to cover up for it or explain it or be ashamed. I think these are such powerful negative emotions, blame, shame, and they typically lead to people, again, doing stuff that doesn't bring out the best in them. So imagine a world where there is a lot of positive encouragement, there is a lot of alignment, there is a lot of teamwork, and then people go out and do the best they can every single day. Only good can come out of that good. I think that's really been the living experience of my long tenure in Titan, where I felt very supported, wholly. There have been times when I've been pushed also and said, why don't you get this? And I felt it was completely beyond my capability. And then I did gather that capability, and I found myself at a different step, which I had not envisaged for myself. I can only be grateful for the long lineage of gurus who have mentors who have both pushed me and pulled me. So that's interesting, because sometimes you have to push and sometimes you have to pull. You have to pull people along.
I think this is becoming very uncanny. My next question was, what role has mentorship played in your life, and can you narrate an incident where your mentor helped you overcome a seeming impasse, where you thought, this is it, this is the end of it, but mentorship helped you, overcome it?
Yeah, so I usually use this example because this was like, an out of syllabus kind of turn in my career. So I was always in marketing, and I had done sales before. At the start of my career, I was in Hindustan Lever in sales, and I had done sales in some other roles also. But essentially, I thought of myself as a marketing person. And in 2012, Bhaskar Bhatt, who was the MD then, we had a conversation, and I mentioned this to him, and he said, I have no recollection of this. And I'm like, this is the impact you have. You don't recall, but it made such a big impact on my life, right? And anyway, so I went to meet him on something, and he said, he basically offered me a new role, which was the regional business head of South. This was a new role. It was a matrix role. It was a very sales ops heavy kind of role, where the entire South region, for all the businesses, you're responsible for the top line. And I was like aghast. I'm looking at him saying, finally I asked him, why would you even think I can do it? Because in my head I couldn't do it. So he says, but I know, why are you know more than me? I said, no, never. Then you will be able to do it. I said, really? And I went from managing a 15-member team to an overall team size of 967. I mean, I had 18 direct reports, but 900. But if somebody had told me that I would be able to even kind of somehow manage it, I would have been surprised at them. And not only did I survive, I actually thrived. And that particular experience from 2012 to 15 stood me in very good stead when I took over this CEO role in 2020. Because I'd been in the trenches and I knew what it took. And it was, one is that I knew that I could do it, and I think everyone else also knew that I could do it. Both matter.
True. I think you needed to be pushed out of your comfort zone, and you took it on. So, obviously, you've climbed up the ladder. And how has your leadership style evolved over the years? Like you said, you were managing a team of 70, and then you had to immediately go manage a team of 950 or 960. How
I
did
don't
that go?
think
And
the
now you're
leadership
managing so
style
many.
has changed much because you can't really change as a person. I think I've got more comfortable with who I am, and that may be making me a little more relaxed. But essentially, I'm, another colleague of mine who recently retired, he used to say this a lot, and I really go by it, saying demanding performance is not disrespect. It's the least you can do for the company. But at the same time, you can be very inclusive, kind-hearted, joyous even at work. If work is such a big dread that you're waiting to go home, you're waiting for the weekend, you're waiting for retirement, then there's something wrong with that workplace. Believe me. And I've been there. Their work is supposed to be as productive, as spontaneous, as joyful as any other part of your life. And I feel that if there is a culture match and there is a, I would say, energy and passion match, then you can get out the best from everybody. So I don't think my leadership style has changed. And in fact, that's the thing about Titan. People that were in my marketing team in 2006 and 8 are still there in the company, and some of them are working with me. And I think we're all pretty much the same. It's just the scale has changed.
Okay. Okay, ESG is the buzzword now, sustainability, respecting environment. So how has all that entered into the Tata ecosystem?
That's a very big question, and frankly, I'm not the right person to talk about Tata Group's ESG. I'm not even the right person to talk about Titan's ESG, but I see from the outside, Tata Group ESG has taken huge strides. There are a lot of projects which a lot of the bigger companies like Tata Steel, Tata Power, etc. do. In Titan, we have a pretty focused ESG program, in which we talk about energy, about water, obviously social impact. So we have a pretty good CSR vision, and there are people who are leading it, and I think business leaders like me, we participate and we support them.
So Titan's Integrity Office in Bangalore, I think that has become an iconic office space now, and it is respected as one of the most green buildings and most sustainable buildings that India has. So can you tell us more about the biophilic features that it has, and do you work out of that space?
I do. It's really good. So the beautiful part of it is that it's three floors. It's completely organic. There are no sharp angles, no right turns. Everything is flowing. There are several water bodies. One of them is natural, and then there are some artificial ones. And there is a lot of greenery. It looks like a resort. The pity is there are no rooms, otherwise many of us would not go home only. And I'll tell you, it's Platinum LEED certified, but I can also tell you what it is. It's beautiful and lovely, except for the months of March and April, and this year even May, because there is no air conditioning. It's air-cooled. So you can't get Platinum LEED and have a ton of air conditioning. It doesn't work both ways, right? But this year it got hot. I mean, it's getting seriously hot. And in our little island, little oasis, we realize what we have done to this planet, that even integrity was boiling. So that's and now we are like, Platinum LEED is okay, but next summer we can't go through this heat.
Exactly my question. So if this was the case this year, what's the plan for next year?
I don't know. What's the plan for the universe? Let's just think about the planet's plan B here.
Absolutely. I think for many years, right up to 10 years ago, I think Bangaloreans did not own fans. ACs to bhuli jao. Even fans never used to be there, I remember. And now Bangalore is like this.
I don't have an AC in my house. I don't have an AC in my office. This year, I sat in my car because I put the AC on. It was boiling. 40 degrees. It is insane. 39.5 or something. So this is not working out for any of us. I mean, yeah, and I know I shouldn't be complaining at all because Delhi and Hyderabad are all boiled much more. And yeah, I think climate change and global weirding, not global warming, global weirding, like Dubai is getting washed away in flood. And I mean, what's happening? But who else do we blame? Can we blame anybody else? Yeah, and then we pretend we go about life like nothing happened. Where's the crisis? There's no crisis.
Or at least I don't play a part in it. Or I'm just a small drop. If I didn't do, what would happen? You know.
I know.
How can I make a difference?
So that's why we sit in a non-air conditioned office. We are doing a little bit.
But is that going to continue?
I think so. I think they can think of other ways in which we can have a little cooler without necessarily going into full-on air conditioning.
So my question is, when you have an office like that, have you seen a spike in creativity and involvement and even people-to-people relations?
It's a tough one. I think we were always good at it. So has good become better? Maybe. I don't know. I can't really answer that. There is no data point to support it. But yes, it just feels like a very conducive place to work in.
Maybe you have less absenteeism, like you said. You would have otherwise stayed back if there were rooms.
Absenteeism is usually not about I don't like my office surroundings. It's usually I don't like my work and I don't like my colleagues and I don't like my boss.
Which in your case doesn't happen, I'm sure.
It happens. The number one reason, and this is not just Titan, the number one reason for anybody leaving a job is they don't like the manager. They think the manager doesn't respect them. It's like, this is data.
Okay, with that, I think we will open the floor to questions. Can I request Sujita to please come to the stage?
How long did you sustain the support of
I think more than a year. I think till Delta and beyond, so maybe a year and a half.
More than a year from the entire staff, or you were reducing the support depending on the environment?
Yeah. And honestly, a lot of partners came back and said, now we are back on our feet, so we don't need it.
I want to ask one question. Is that office open to people like us to come and visit?
Absolutely, you can.
So 100%. Can we invite ourselves over?
Yes, I will connect you to Priya, who heads HR as well as DEI, and you can come as a group of women, and we'll take you around. We'll be happy to. You can eat a little South Indian lunch, which is very nice, healthy, everyday food. Yeah, we'll be happy to host you.
Because I've seen pictures and videos of the office. It looks like a floating island, a floating green island.
It does. Oh yeah, Priya. That works too, yeah.
I can ask the question. Hi Suparna, I'm Tarang. And
Bring the
my
mic
question, my question is regarding the competition that watches are facing from telephones, wherein other cell phones. So wherein we don't need a watch anymore. So Titan has moved from being an essential to an accessory, and therefore all your focus on design parameter of the watches. I'm wearing a Raga though, but yeah, just wanted to know that are you taking that as one of the major competition, or I mean, how do you see the fact that people don't want to wear watches anymore?
People do want to wear watches. I think that's not necessarily true. Last year we grew 19% growth. And yes, nobody needs a watch to tell time. There are 100 places, digital devices which tell time, including the cell phone. And this has been going on for about 15, 20 years. There's nothing new about it. Watches are bought for usually one of four top reasons. Number one, a lot of watches, the entire Swiss watch industry works on watches as a symbol of status. Watches are also bought for gifting. About 40 to 50% of the watch category is based on gifting. And these are about moments, they are about milestones, and they're about memories. I think in this hall, if you ask, people will say, I got this watch on my graduation, my wedding day, my anniversary, my birthday, etc. And they're all important milestones and they create memories. The third reason is, like you rightly mentioned, accessorization. In fact, like if I'm wearing, it's like almost color matchy, like look at what Priya's, it totally goes with her entire ensemble. So it's not like if you're wearing, like if she was wearing what I'm wearing, then that watch may or may not have gone. But what I'm wearing, my watch goes with that. So it's really, and also not just about color matchy, but even like a lot of men have more sporty looking watches, which are more for casual places, more formal looking watches for more formal occasions, etc. And the last, and your raga is a measure of that, hopefully, is it's a means of self-expression. It's who you are. You want to express to the whole world who you are. It would be true if I could go to your house. If you invite me to your house, I will see who you are, right? Everything in that house, you have carefully curated, selected. It speaks of who you are. But you can't bring your house here, right? But your watch tells a story about who you are. So none of these can be done by the cell phone. Thank you so much. That tells a story.
See, when we are talking about your ads, so we were just asking and sitting beside, which platform, in the social media, television, YouTube, which platform is more effective for you?
It depends. Yeah.
Ads viewership or which platform you like?
It depends on the target audience. So, for example, if you look at men 30 to 40, there would be a different kind of selection of both media and social media. Women would be different, young people would be different, kids would be different. So it all depends on that. For example, all our really super premium watches, we do a lot of airport hoardings. And that works well for us. So, last Diwali, we had put up a lot of airport hoardings of our Titan meteorite watch from the Stellar collection, which had pieces of 120,000-year-old meteorite in the dial. And it was an expensive watch. It sold for, coincidentally, 120,000 rupees, 1,20,000. And the airport was very effective. I'm not going to use that corridor for a 5,000 rupee watch. I'm going to use, and there are, this is actually, especially on digital, you get a lot of data. So it's easy to program it. And that part of marketing is now called performance marketing. So now marketing is performance and brand. And which is not to say the brand is not performing, but that brand marketing is about brand stories and making people feel, have greater affiliation to the brand, whereas performance marketing is more about how many people saw it, and we get the full data, how many people saw it. We don't know who exactly, but we know how many people saw it and how that conversion happened. So there is something called the top of the funnel So if you have 100 million people at the top of the funnel, how many people finally bought it? It is possible to track all the way down.
How about smartwatches, ma'am? You first started with smartwatches.
Yes.
How do you easily compete with your, the demand is increasing for smartwatches?
So smartwatches, we sell a lot of fast-track smartwatches, which are very popular with the youth. And smartwatches, though they sit on the wrist in the exact same spot in the human body, are actually closer to the cell phone in terms of what they do. They help you, there are 2-3 big things that smartwatches do. While a lot of people are trying to bring in a lot of things, they give you a fitness score. They'll tell you steps and calories and, heart rate. They will have incoming notifications and all of that. And if there is a Bluetooth, they allow you to make calls and receive calls. So actually, there is no real substitution between smartwatch and watch. I think, like I mentioned, the 4 reasons why watches get bought, the 3 reasons why smartwatches get bought are these. And as you see, they are not the same. So we are not, in fact, smartwatches, if watches are about, it's about who you are, like I said, smartwatches are about what you do and how you do it. It's an effectiveness, productivity device.
One last question before we end the session.
So, in the introduction, they've mentioned that you're an independent director at Swiggy. So, what is your stance and how do you correlate any of this? Is it just a division that you're part of it, or is there anything that you feel about the company, Swiggy?
It's a separate company and I'm on the board as an independent director.
To know about the view and what is it that 2 lines that you would want to talk about Swiggy, the growth story.
I don't think I'm authorized to talk on it.
Thank you.
I now request Senior Vice Chairperson.
She wants a question. One question.
Is Titan doing very well because there are hardly any competitors in this space?
I think there are good competitors. I think we are focused much more on the consumer. So we are focused on 3 big consumer cohorts: women, Gen Z, and premium. And premium is doing really well for us, and we are very focused on that. So we're just doing what we can. Frankly, our competition is a share of the wallet. Like, nobody here is going and saying, I will buy a watch today. They are, especially for a gift or for anything else, even it's an accessory, like all of you ladies, if you had 10,000 rupees, you could buy a watch, you could buy a handbag, you could buy 2 pairs of shoes, you could buy so many things, right? Why would you buy a watch unless I made something that was simply irresistible and that you've had your eye on it for a while? Nobody needs a watch. Nobody needs a 2nd, 3rd, 4th watch, actually. So there's a lot of work in creating that desire and converting that into demand.
Somebody and I enjoy those 20 gift Titan watches or something, and they said, best people need a Titan watch.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. There was one lady here, yeah, she's been wanting to speak.
I'd like to know what is the international market share?
International?
International. Just right about you expanding into Bangladesh.
Oh.
Europe and other countries.
Not Europe. This is basically Tanishq. We've set up several stores in Middle East, US, I think Singapore, and now Bangladesh. Not Europe.
Because of the background to the chairperson. Way back in 2003, I studied to be a chartered marketer in the UK. And one of the case studies was Titan watches.
Oh, nice.
I thoroughly congratulate the vision management and hospital that
Oh my God, you know that?
this is really released 7 Raga watches. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
I now request Senior Vice Chairperson Pratibha Kunda to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Today, we've had the privilege of being captivated by Ms. Suparna Mitra, the visionary CEO of the Watches and Wearables Division from Titan. On behalf of FLO Hyderabad and Chairperson Priya Gazdar, I extend our gratitude for sharing your exceptional wisdom and trailblazing ideas with us. Your journey from an electrical engineer to a leader in the luxury and lifestyle market is very inspiring. Many of us can probably recall the impactful line from Titan during the COVID era. When was the last time you did something for the first time? Featured prominently in one of your Titan's most remarkable ad campaigns, make every moment count. This is the time to learn something, to forget something. What a brilliant ad, ma'am, every one of them. Your creative ads are thought-provoking and linger with us much later too. We thank our audience for their participation and engagement throughout the event. A special note of appreciation goes to our past chairs for their support and the event teams for their meticulous efforts in organizing this gathering. We are grateful for the support from our sponsors, Platinum sponsor Tira by Tibarumals, Initiative sponsor McLean Group, Gold sponsor Oro Jewels, Ecosystem partner T-Hub, and creative partner RBC Worldwide. I would like to invite everyone to join us for high tea after we wrap up so we can continue our conversations further. Thank you.